You're recording?
It is recording, yes.
Okay. Greetings, everybody. Brian
Spoilers.
Here again. Oh, fucking hell.
Time. 28 seconds. That's what I have down.
Greetings, everyone. Brian here. We're going to do another supplemental episode. Today we've got the captain again, Ryan, Captain Maddox.
Hello.
Tara, our doctor, Dr. Teal.
Hello.
Our chief engineer, Travis, who is Chief Engineer Holden.
Hello.
And our new cast member joining us for season 2, who you won't have heard yet, but you will hear as a guest character in like 3 missions or something. Matt, who will be playing our science officer.
Hello.
Yay.
And also Eel is with us.
I mean, I'm
Hello.
always here though.
So today as we've talked about before, all of us, actually with the exception of Matt has the most role-playing game experience out of any of us.
Which is why we didn't invite him initially.
Correct.
The rest of us had virtually zero or completely zero experience playing RPGs, and you can certainly get that feeling in the first few missions. So we wanted to just kind of chat, have a kind of freewheeling discussion about what we've, I guess, come to learn, come to feel, come to know about ourselves in the process of recording season 1, and what feels different about the process to us now versus when we started recording mission 0 and mission 1.
Yeah.
So does anybody have anything they want to jump in with right away?
I'll just say that I really wish we had recorded our very, very first attempt, which was we tried to play Star Trek Adventures. We probably did 3 missions before we actually recorded, and the first mission we tried to do was so dreadfully bad. It was like we tried to do combat, and it's like Brian's like, "All right, so what do you want to do?" And we're like, "I don't know, duck." And okay, I don't know how to do that. It was so bad.
Was that the space cow mission?
No, it was
the cow bug.
No, it was the picking up the yellow frog and eating it mission.
Yeah, the frog sandwich.
Yeah, it's the frog sandwich mission.
Frog sandwich mission, in which we realized that one of your actions could be to lay prone. So I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do that." And Brian was like, "No, you can't just do that, please."
Yeah, and one of the actions is like evade or sidestep, and we're like, "I'll do that."
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Did I win?
Yeah, that was the
and-
starter mission that
Right.
comes in the core rulebook. So it's not even a full mission. It's just like a little half mission that is designed specifically to walk you through the basics of the game mechanics. So
And
like
we still did it
level.
terribly.
Oh, we didn't know what to
we still
do.
managed to absolutely fall flat in our face. And then after that, we did. Did we do the bug one? There was another one in between.
I don't remember.
No. Yeah, we did the Forest of the Night. So we started doing scenarios from the first mission compendium put out by Modifius. We started with Forest of the Night, which is the giant alien spaceship with the weird
forest in there.
with
Yeah.
the forest
Yeah.
inside. Then we did
yeah.
the alien bugs that are being harvested by the other aliens,
Which we dubbed cow bugs.
Cowbugs.
The cowbugs. which are absolutely just the ladybug cow things from Futurama, and you will not convince me otherwise. And then I think after that we did the one with the time distortion and the crazy crew that has been turned psychotic.
Yeah.
And that was our mission 0.
World
or
with a
episode
bluer
0.
sun.
So we didn't record any of those other ones. We were just
Nope, just freewheeling.
figuring stuff out.
It's a good.
We did record some of them, but they will never see the light of day.
I don't know if we did.
I know at least the bug one and the crazy ship, old Starfleet ship.
Oh, well,
we did.
I'll have to look into that.
We just never have done anything with them because
They're terrible.
Because
Yeah.
we were like, "How do you game?"
Yes, I want to roleplay game now.
Pretty accurate.
I think for me, I was nervous I'm actually still nervous every time we record, but I was super nervous in the beginning every time we recorded because I thought that that's not me. I
That was
thought,
Ryan.
yeah, I thought that RPG meant that you had to like come up with a monologue or something off the cuff, like in character, full Star Trek jargon, and
Yeah.
like
Which you
I was,
can, but you
you
don't have
could,
to.
sure, but I had no idea how it worked, so I was like, I don't know what I would say. I can't do this. I don't want to do this.
You're like, don't shove me on the stage. I haven't rehearsed once.
I
Yeah.
know. I can't.
It's the actor's nightmare, but
It is
entirely voluntary.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and we definitely, I think you can probably tell that in the early missions where we definitely, and I know myself for one, definitely go, okay, this happens, as opposed to a voice or a
Yeah.
character going,
Right.
like, this is how I feel about these things, and
This
what I
thing,
choose
yeah.
to do. Because I know early on, like, as has been discussed before, and as we've even mentioned before, like, a GM has to juggle so many different disparate things, like telling a story, improvising on the spots,
Right.
the game mechanics,
Keeping the players wrangled.
yeah, just kind of
Right.
juggling all of
Juggling
these
cats.
balls. I was like, okay, I'm going to purposely put this ball off to the side until I can have
Yeah.
somewhat of a handle
Yeah.
on these three before I pick that one
Totally.
up. So.
I liked that you did that because it made it okay for us to do that too,
Yeah.
without the extra pressure of like, now be in character and say things just like your character would. And like any character that I ever play that has my own voice is completely foreign to me. Like I can't do it. Throw an accent, like throw Eel. I don't know what Eel says. I don't plan anything Eel says. That all just comes flying out of nowhere.
Oh God, hold on, I was asleep.
You are a Betazoid, so you could give Eel or Teal. You could give Teal like a Deanna Troy accent, like what she has early in.
Which
I don't-
one?
Yeah, what accent is that?
It's some sort of like Greek, Eastern European,
Greek,
something.
Austrian,
Also mixed
yeah.
with British a little
Yeah,
bit.
right. Yeah. No, thank you.
So okay, I'm curious, Matt. Have you listened to the episodes that have been released thus far?
No, I'm not very interested in this show.
That's about right.
No, I've listened to everything that's come out so far, except for the last supplemental episode.
Oh,
I have
seriously?
not listened to that one yet.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I've listened to them all as they come out.
Matt is a
So-
substantial percentage of all of our downloads.
Yeah,
So okay, so
I'm
coming from
3,000 of them.
so someone who does game regularly, how
Mhm.
did we sound in terms of like game playing wise?
No.
Was it painfully obvious how amateur we were at that?
It's obvious that you guys don't have a lot of experience playing role-playing games, but it's not bad. It's good. And
Okay.
you can definitely see a progression from the first mission to where it is now as to how
Yeah.
comfortable you are with the system and how comfortable you are with some of the role-playing aspects and the mechanics and how to play. So,
Yeah.
Cool.
Getting to the point where like the normal stuff that you do every game, you don't have to look up in the book each time.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
frees up so much brain space to
Right.
like
Right.
actually pay
Yeah.
attention to the rest of the game.
And actually, Travis, that cheat sheet that you sent out to us, Travis developed a cheat sheet to help us get through some of the actions and the minor actions and things like that, and that was very, very beneficial because once we had that all in one place, because the Modifius book,
It's
is
ridiculous.
like 300 pages, and
It's tough.
and the quick starter is like 25 or 30 pages,
Yeah.
and so if you want to look something quickly, it's very difficult to get it in any kind of a rhythm.
a lot
Brian-
of
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tara.
I was gonna say, and Brian has studied it like so hard from cover to cover that he's like, oh yeah, well it's in the phaser section in chapter 8, Tara. I'm like, it's right there. I'm like, it's right there.
Sure it is.
That's a direct
Chapter-
result of our
chapter
very
7,
first
yeah.
section ever, where we started, and I was like
No idea.
completely drowning.
So Brian, how do we play? I don't know.
I don't know.
That
Well,
was
like,
one
I've looked it over. I've played other board games in the past, including D&D a little bit. So like, okay, I'll I'll look it over and I'll have a good enough sense that I'll be able to flip back and forth to whatever I need in the moment. And that was not the case.
That was the one where I think a good third of the recording was just waiting for me and Brian to pull up the guide and Control F to find what we were looking for
Yep.
somewhere in the PDF.
And then I got so stressed out at that point that like my eyes wouldn't focus.
Oh no.
Like I'd be like desperately
man.
moving my eyes to get them to focus long enough to actually read whatever.
Oh, that's the worst.
So I am
Yeah.
excited the fact that Matt saw some level of progression, because I think
Yeah.
I don't think I felt a real progression in terms of like feeling like we were more comfortable until the second half of the season. Like until the sort of back half of the season, specifically the last several episodes are the ones that I felt like we started hitting a stride where we would sit down, log in, everybody says hit record, we hit record, and we would just kind of go. And it wasn't
Yeah.
until the final couple missions and around the midpoint that we felt like that we had that sort of rhythm going. So I'm excited by the fact that I think the back half of the season after this mid-season break are going to be much better and like even better.
They are, and not only are they better in terms of in terms of how we felt playing the game, but in the editing process, Brian asked this question just I think earlier today or maybe yesterday about whether or not we as players are reaching a better flow to the point where the editing is not as laborious because we're not cutting out like 10 minutes of us waiting to find a rule,
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
so that is also sort of streamlining. So that's good.
So Matt, I've wanted to ask you this question for a while now. You play a guest character in Mission 8, Boats Against the Current, which will
Mission 9.
It's a Captain in the Arena.
Captain in the Arena, excuse me, that's right. So your guests, you played with us on Mission 9. What was it like to play with us compared and contrast against other D&D and RPG experiences that you had? Was it like ridiculous? And were we ridiculous is my question.
Yes, tell us about that experience in your past that is the future.
Yeah.
Well, yes, you were ridiculous, but that's what you guys all are.
You knew what you were getting into. I say, let them crash.
No, it was actually a lot of fun. I had a good time doing it. So
that was also one of the most awesome episodes.
It was super fun to do. I love doing it. So from my experience playing games, you have two different types of people that like to play RPGs. The people that don't like to role play, but they really like the experience of playing the game,
like the mechanics of it and all
yeah,
that. They get into the gameplay.
They get into it and they know what to do, and they don't that they min-max their characters, but they make a character and they go with it, and that's what they want to do. They want to kill stuff and have fun doing that. And then you have people that more like what I like to do is I like to build a character on a concept, and it doesn't matter if this guy sucks at what he's doing.
Well, that's good for you personally.
It's really great.
It doesn't matter if the captain can't walk down a hallway.
Well, so I once made a bard that was the worst bard in the history of the world because he hated every single thing that he had to do. He hated everything. He hated singing songs. He hated being in front of people. And it was the most fun I ever had playing
a bard with just extreme social anxiety.
Exactly. He was a disgraced noble, and he had to be a bard to make ends meet. And he hated the entire world. And in D&D, there's a spell called I think Scathing Tirade, or not Scathing Tirade. It's something where basically you mock someone and it damages their soul. And his way of mocking was to tell people they were poor. It was the best thing ever.
And he's a bard.
Yeah, it's amazing. I
loved
playing that guy.
the insult is so good that it takes away hit points from the target.
Yes, yeah, it's the greatest move ever. I can't remember the name of the spell, but yeah, it's literally he just you're poor. You can't even have a castle. Whoa!
Well,
it was fantastic.
If you're going to be our science officer for season 2, can you please be a flat earther also? Like you don't believe
on a starship.
Yeah, and you don't believe in climate change in the 21st century climate change. Like you don't believe that history.
Starfleet
That was an
hoax.
inside job. Changelings aren't real.
That's fantastic. I love
That's
that.
great.
That's also
But
I can absolutely seeing you doing that.
That
Yeah.
all being said, you guys are the latter group to
Oh.
me. That you make characters that are fun and you just want to play those characters, and it doesn't matter as much what their abilities are and how good they are, their stuff. It's just the story and having fun. So I like that kind of game.
It's interesting. I think that we all have very different. We all pull different senses of enjoyment from the experience. I think.
Mhm.
I don't mean to speak for TJ, but I believe when oh, by the way, for everybody listening, it's TJ's birthday. So say happy birthday, TJ.
Happy birthday,
Um,
TJ.
That's why he's not with us today. He's out with his real friends. But I think he does it for the for the just hanging out aspect of just hanging out with friends. And Travis,
especially in this year. So.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Travis, I know you are you're big into the gameplay and the mechanics of it all. And like I just want to play in the universe of Star Trek. So
And I enjoy Star Trek, but I also don't get to do a lot of things with my partner very often. So it was like, hey, something we get to do together from home while the kids are sleeping.
Yeah, that isn't just managing our children.
Exactly. Yeah. So
wait, you want us to rear what?
What?
Yeah, and that's definitely. I feel like I read that somewhere in kind of the run up to all of this, where I was, trying to. I'm very Ravenclaw, so I was trying to like read up on every conceivable
Ravenclaw
piece of advice or theory
don't
behind being a GM. And yes, I don't remember where, but somewhere I read essentially that it breaks down into those categories. And what I think is great about the group that we have now is that it includes all of those categories. And like in certain cases, that was a conscious thought on my part going into it. Like, okay, I know Travis is going to bring this and Terry is going to bring this, and they're going to be completely different things, but they're both they're both really important to the total experience in the way that they do. So like I was anticipating, and I think it's borne out pretty well, that like Travis would be the one who in any given moment would be like, this rule says this, so does that mean we can do that? Like really
100%.
Yeah.
Travis is the guy that's going to break the game.
Yeah.
And for Ryan to
try.
be like, okay, this is the Star Trek thing to do in this moment, whatever that is. And for Tara to just be like, okay, does this make sense? In general? Makes sense as a story and for things that real humans would actually choose to do in any given moment,
Right.
as opposed to people playing a game or living out a Star Trek fantasy or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that seems to have worked out that way.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing to focusing more on that aspect, to be honest, because like Brian, when you came to me and we originally started talking about this, and like we got the first group together, and you made clear, you were like, I know that that's probably going to be the type of player you are, and I was like, yes, that clearly is going to be what I do. But also you wanted someone to help do that in part because learning all of the rules and following all the rules and making sure there was someone else there. This was your first time GMing, someone to help sort of like wrangle the crew so that you don't necessarily have to do all of it yourself, right? To try and be like, okay, well, now we need to kind of move the story along and talk to people like, okay, well, you need to do this, or like we should be doing this. So I definitely tried to focus a little bit on that. Sometimes I felt like I was kind of pushing a little too hard, but I'm looking forward to season 2 because I feel like at this point we have our flow. And I think throughout the season, I've done less and less of that and more so focusing on just okay, well, what can we do here and how can we use the rules to our advantage, and doing that sort of game breaking and game fudging and trying to make it work in a way that's intriguing.
Including the new
the new power that I'm getting.
The addition to the Tempest that Holden will be incorporating into it between season 1 and 2.
That sort of thing. Like I'm looking forward to doing more stuff like that, like finding little nitpicks within the rules and being like, let's try this.
How about this thing?
Are you putting a new nacelle on the Tempest?
I am not.
to make it the Tempest Type R.
I'm assuming the fact that Brian did not
Ta-da.
mention it. I'm assuming Brian didn't mention it because it is a spoiler that we should not talk about as of yet.
Right.
Is that correct, Brian?
Mhm.
Correct.
Okay.
Um,
So I'll tell you after we stop recording, though,
Also, at the
because it's
be-
awesome.
between season 1 and 2, we all were like, okay, wait, can we like redo our stats and stuff? Because like I understand things now that I didn't understand before. And so
Like the medical officer should have medicine, and the
Right.
captain should be able to walk across a hallway.
yeah. Also, I had values so we filled out like a almost like a quiz type
Yeah,
thing.
it was like an app or something.
Right. And it like broke down all your characters' stats, and things that you said within this quiz turned up as your focuses and values and so on and so forth. So mine, like Brian called me out and was like, hey, so under focuses, it says composure twice. So I wonder if that was an accident or you're just really goddamn composed. I was like, listen, I do surgery, okay?
So
But
really
yeah,
composed.
I'm really composed. Yeah, but
I will definitely say, if for anybody, like some people people who have a long history of playing D&D or whatever, for example, might hear us say, oh yeah, we went back and rejiggered our characters like well into the start of the thing, and that might sound blasphemous to some people. I will absolutely advocate, like, if you're coming into Star Trek Adventures from any other kind of system or no system at all, absolutely, like, give yourself that latitude, because
Yeah,
yeah.
you're
it's a
gonna
bear.
do your absolute best starting out, and then you're gonna have such a better understanding once you've gone through a handful of missions of like what every piece actually does.
Right.
Yeah, and like
Most of them.
I in my brain, my head goes, we should also make that same disclaimer of the idea of like people who maybe are really into Star Trek Adventures, the idea that it might be blasphemous. But then I realized they're really into Star Trek Adventures, and they're like, no, we get it. Like that's what you need.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah,
legit.
it's already familiar with the game is like, no, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's, that was a freeing aspect of just like, oh, I'm not stuck in these decisions forever. Like, let's figure out what makes sense. Not just like, oh, I want this to be easier in the future, but more of a like, oh, but I've cultivated this character now and I
Yeah, I know who
understand
this
better.
person is a lot
Right.
more than in the beginning.
And frankly, I feel like all of the seasons, all the series of Star Trek did that in every, like the first season of TNG. Woo! Let's redo everyone's stats. Like
They did.
Right.
So
Exactly. All
Let's
right.
give Riker a beard.
Yeah, and Picard,
right.
we're gonna lower your French by 5.
Also, it's even tougher because the player characters are humans, and all the easy ones are all like the side characters because they're all animals, and we just started giving them stats based on that. So it's like Panther is really good
Oh,
and really
God.
agile because he's
Right.
a cat, and
Yeah.
Eel is an expert at plasma systems because of course. He would be.
You know
because he
that's
has
right.
electricity.
Though.
Yeah,
And Doe
Yeah.
can fly away really well because he's a deer.
He's a,
Yeah.
he's very graceful, so
Yeah.
it works out amazingly. Those are easy.
Those
So,
are super easy.
The people are hard.
Right.
That's very,
Complicated.
very true. And
There's definitely a give and take. It's funny because there's definitely a give and take in all of the aspects of the RPG, of playing an RPG. And I feel like on some of them we were definitely handicapped with our lack of experience. But then on the other hand, given that we have all performed together and a lot of times specifically improv comedy together
Right.
on stage, that it almost ironically made that part easier, or counterintuitively made that part easier than just the gameplay, which at least theoretically should be, okay, I roll these dice and then this happens, right? And it was almost more like, okay, how do we keep this flowing, came more naturally to us than actually playing the game.
Yeah, and all the
Yeah.
hardcore gameplay crunchy aspects were all just hurdles to keep the thing moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, and frankly, I'm glad that we had Travis as the other person who was like, hey guys, we should probably like get on track, because Ryan and TJ and I left unchecked as just like Nobody needs that show. Like,
I don't know.
Unless we're in the 4th hour of recording, at which point TJ is like, let's just finish.
shoot everything. Shoot it.
Or Tila's like, I definitely have a phaser at my desk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, there it is, and now we're done.
I would just no, like in case the patients lose their mind, I need to shoot them.
I just need
don't
to
you
shoot someone.
don't you remember Beverly's commemorative phaser that she kept on the wall right next to her chair all the time?
Right there.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Now with season 1 down and season 2 upon us, we're going to start recording our first mission just a few days from now. It's Friday as we record this. We'll be recording mission 1 of season 2 on Sunday.
Woohoo.
Crazy.
How do you guys, like, moving forward, looking forward, how do you anticipate or are contemplating or expecting how you play to change, if at all, like in terms
Well, this
of
is awkward, but I'm actually going to quit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're here to do it live.
Yep. Fuck it, I'm doing it live.
Do it live.
I'll write it.
We'll do it live.
I think the team is probably going to be very dynamic in season 2.
Team dynamics.
Yeah, so I will actually answer that seriously, and I think I sort of already answered it, the earlier one of I'm gonna sort of step away from wrangling a little more and kind of just get into it. I think the rest of the crew has a sense to now sort of self-wrangle a little bit more. Brian, you also now have a full 10 recorded episodes at this point, like under your belt, so you have a better handle on sort of how to keep the story focused. So I feel like I want to not have to do that. I don't think I was doing it a lot, mind you. Just I want to be.
I think you were,
Yeah, it was like it wasn't like I wasn't trying to co-GM or anything.
I
but
mean,
just the idea.
that's Travis, and he's never going to change.
Right. So I'm looking forward to. I think that's going to be my goal of season 2 is to sort of step back from that, look at more just how can I use what I know about the system in an interesting way to further the story and to further the characters along, and try to get it. I'm not a big role playing person. Like I don't want to do voices and stuff. That's why Panther is mostly grunts.
Panther's hilarious.
So I don't want to necessarily super role play more, but I would like to try and like get a little more outside my comfort zone of doing that a little bit more at least.
Yeah,
I was on that part.
I was going to ask, and we should be careful about how much we talk about the half of the season that hasn't released yet. But in the last episode, in the last mission of season 1, there's a piece of Holden's past that really like comes into play. That's like a strong element of like, oh, this is this character and the history that he has and the effects of that history. Which is honestly probably like one of the strongest character choices that anybody has made up to this point. And it's the first time a character choice like that really comes into play and affects the story. So how will you feel about kind of going down that road a little bit farther as we do season 2? Because that story thread is going to come back in some way.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'm looking forward to being able to focus a little more on those types of things, which I didn't do a lot of in the first season. So again, it's a little outside my comfort zone because again, the role playing part of it is it's not really my jam as much. But I'm looking forward to, pushing myself on that front as well, which will be a fun exercise, which is part of the whole reason of doing stuff like this is to do things that you're not used to or comfortable with. So
yeah, absolutely. Similarly, I felt like when we got started, Brian was like, try to write a whole backstory for this person. Like, give me a name. Answer some questions. Think about some stuff. Yes, huh? I have it all written out.
Yes, huh?
Yes,
I
huh?
explicitly said you don't have to come up with an answer for.
Okay, but
all
I
of
am a
these. You don't have to write
Ravenclaw
an
too,
essay for all
Brian. So I'm gonna write a full parchment on it. So, so I wrote a whole backstory, whether I was instructed or not, and I haven't really. I haven't really touched much on what I wrote there, and I feel like because I thought about it, like I could that could be background stuff that I never think about again, or it could be things that I sprinkle in now that I understand how to play, now that I'm a little less intimidated by the gameplay itself and things like that. Like some of the decisions that I start making, I want to start basing them on things that I wrote about originally as part of who this person is. And frankly, I probably want to write one of those about Eel just because.
Yeah, well, again, not to get too far ahead of ourselves in releases, but in the mission that is coming up from this recording, Teal makes probably the strongest character choice in any session or any mission of anybody so far, in terms of like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and like it's a big deal kind of what she does, and the consequences are potentially really big.
Yeah,
Does she
Brian
kill the
goes,
captain?
no,
Yeah, I'm dead.
Brian goes, there are consequences, and I felt like I was in the principal's office, and I was like, never mind, maybe I don't want to do that. And he's like, no, do it, it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Right?
I look forward to after that episode airs, because we're gonna have to do some other chat after that, because like the way that all played out
yeah, that's
as a behind the scenes story is a lot of fun, and that's something I think listeners
Start doing like the Walking Dead thing.
Oh
the
yeah,
post show thing.
Yeah.
No,
The
by the time we
Talking
hit
Dead.
by the time we stop recording, we are all absolutely done.
yeah.
So
4 hours. So yeah, for everybody playing at home or listening at home,
Playing at
we
home.
playing. We generally block out a 4-hour bit of time to record each mission. So all of our missions are recorded in one sitting, and then those are parsed up into however many episodes the resulting timeline produces. But it is like Travis just said, it's by the end it can get really like there's
a little grueling.
it takes a little bit of creative editing in the conclusion of every mission, because everybody's just like, all right, I think I got it.
Can we be done now?
I got a success.
Can,
One
Can we
success.
be done?
One success.
And the way we do it is a little bit differently than I think most groups tend to do it, because a group will get together, at least in the before times, a group would get together and
The long ago.
long
Yeah,
ago
long
on
ago.
a Saturday and play until they got to a good stopping point, whether that stopping point was 3 or 4 or 5 hours, right? But because all of our schedules are so
Crazy.
crazy
Asynchronous.
and specific, like we really, when we set out 4 hours, that's basically all we have, and that after 4 hours we got to be done. We got to find some kind of resolution to whatever the mission is, and then let everybody else go back on with their day with whatever.
By
hell
the
else
way,
they do.
that's 4 hours in 3 time zones.
Yeah.
So like it's such a crazy like, okay, so who gets out of work at what time, and what time do kids go to bed, and which nights are school nights, and what you like it is
Yeah.
the
Which is someone working
scheduling
a double.
alone. Right. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Which,
scheduling
yes,
alone is
so now
nuts.
with Matt, who is on the East Coast, I'm
Yeah.
on the West Coast, and the rest of you are somewhere in between. I don't know, flyover
Central.
country, whatever.
We're central.
Um,
Over country.
with Matt, we now have 5 households, 4 states, and 3 time zones.
How many cats and kids and
Oh
dogs?
gosh.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4
3
kids.
a cat.
4 kids.
another
Matt
kid,
has a kid.
I have a baby.
TJ has a kid.
I spawned.
Yeah. TJ
Oh,
something.
Travis has a
TJ
dog
has a
now.
kid.
Oh,
5
yeah.
kids.
1
we-
dog here.
1 dog here.
Well,
2
speaking
dogs,
of
what,
kid,
5 cats? 4 cats?
I have 4.
Oh, yeah.
you have
Oh,
4
okay.
by yourself.
Yeah, I have
7
4
cats.
cats.
then.
So scheduling is a bit of a juggling act,
It's the
Yeah.
whole
to say the
thing.
least.
I'm surrounded by all of them right now.
Right.
They're all looking at you.
All right.
They're probably wondering why you put their
Judging you.
brother on your face.
Oh,
Why are you wearing Murphy?
that's it's a great beard.
It is.
It's a great big bushy beard.
I hope that's Smythe's voice.
Oh, me too.
make him somehow he's from the Soviet Union for some reason.
No, I thought he was
Not
Scottish.
Russia, the
He's a
Soviet
dwarf. He's
Union.
a Tolkien
Big, bushy
dwarf.
beard.
Oh, he's time displaced, right? So he's, just like Jillian
Yeah.
Taylor or
Oh yeah.
the Bozeman
Yeah.
crew,
Yeah.
displaced in time.
I did have a question about the upcoming season, though. Since I'm a crew member added in the 2nd season, whose name should I purposely mispronounce like a dickhead the entire season?
I hate
L.
Pulaski.
Godspeed.
No.
TJ
No, L.
Godspeed.
Speed?
Lieutenant L.
Lieutenant L.
It's eel.
What's the difference?
There's no Ensign Malie, is there?
No, one is my name and the other isn't.
Yeah, well, I told Matt as a new main character joining in season 2, he had to follow Star Trek rules, which is base his character on some other Star Trek character that had entered in season 2. So either Chekhov or Guinan or Pulaski.
Pulaski.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
Pulaski.
I chose Pulaski.
You're gonna make it
No.
Pulaski. And then
Yeah.
we're gonna bring back Teal as the science officer.
Can you go back to working 2 jobs, please?
Yeah. That's also going to be interesting for me because I have more rolling responsibilities now than I will with Matt on the ship.
Right.
So
Well, I
that's
think
going to
that's-
be.
So I was
a-
actually thinking about this in terms of that juggling, right?
Yeah.
And how we're going to kind of justify why the Doctor is always there when
Yeah.
even though McCoy is always there, he really shouldn't be.
I mean,
Crusher isn't there all the time.
right? Yeah.
And that was the first joke ever made on the show was when TJ said that. Like, we're all on the bridge, and TJ goes, "Why is the Doctor on the bridge? Is somebody hurt?" that was the breaking the champagne bottle on the hull of the
Right.
USS
Listening
Tempest.
of the podcast.
We're just
Um,
gonna do Teal and Eel spin-off episodes because I'm here for
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can record them yourself. You just sit in a booth and talk to
Yeah,
yourself for
that.
an
It's
hour.
fine. We'll solve mysteries. It's cool.
But I think it will make a much more effective dynamic now that we have, none of us are doing joint responsibilities over specialties anymore.
Right.
So now that Holden is no longer both tactical and engineering, and you are no longer science and medicine, I'm still going to be command and awesome, but that's okay.
Well, I think I'm because Panther is technical, right? Is that what you're meaning?
He's tactical. Oh, he's security and tactical. I think
Security,
that
yeah.
one will stay.
Yeah.
He'll be
Yeah,
all
like I'm still doing both essentially, but
Sure.
right, but Holden won't be. The
Yeah.
character of Holden will not be.
Sorry.
right.
So we'll have
Logan
our
had feelings about that.
characters.
Sorry,
who have,
Logan.
characters who have the appropriate attributes and disciplines for their respective specialties.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Well, yeah. So I was thinking about that, and obviously it's always up to you guys and what you want to do. But I was
Quit.
thinking that Dr. Teal could sort of still have a dual aspect, except that the other aspect is kind of what she's already turned into, which is like the diplomatic liaison, cultural negotiator, mediator person, which is
The Troy. role.
essentially what
That's gonna
Troy
be a long
eventually
title to
turned
put on her placard on her door.
I like it. Except that every time you're like, all right, so what do you want to say to this other, imposing figure? And I'm like, I don't know.
and the million times you forget that you're Beta Z.
Yeah.
You can sense whether they're lying right now if you
If
want.
only I could tell what they were thinking.
Magic.
Oh, Brian just left.
Oh, I'm
Well,
here. It's-
game's over.
game's over.
Oh,
Oh, you
you
have a
Ryan?
visitor.
What do you feel like is going to change for you personally moving forward?
I'm just looking forward to getting back in the chair. Now Logan's with me. Hi.
Daddy.
Okay. Maybe this was the wrong time to ask me a direct question.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Matt, what do you think is going to change for you in season 2?
Yeah.
Well,
Besides
first thing is going
being
to change. I'm
there.
going to be in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
Step 1.
That'll be
good.
nice, Brian. I think for Maddox, it's I don't know. Truthfully, I don't think he made any particularly interesting developmental milestones. He didn't reach any developmental milestones as a character. He didn't change a whole lot. He's got, I think, well, that's not entirely true. I think he's become a better negotiator, and that's that will come into play because we start, like we talked about, changing up our stats a little bit. And
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when we did the stat changing. You really didn't do a whole lot other than trying to give yourself enough of like shift enough points so that you weren't constantly failing really simplistic roles.
Physical activities.
Yeah,
was
physical
one thing,
activity
yeah.
roles.
But I did change the focus there to I forget what we actually termed it, but he'll have
the focus thing, the actual like mind over matter or mind over body thing.
well, and also diplomatic negotiations or negotiating
Oh, true, yeah.
or persuasiveness or whatever it was. So
Yeah.
but honestly, I'm just looking forward to getting back in the universe.
Cool.
So you guys excited for Sunday then?
No,
Not really.
Matt's gonna be there, so
Yeah, I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
able to make it.
Yeah, Matt, we're gonna have to do like a whole like intro scene. Like
Yeah.
we should go back and watch Pulaski's introduction to see like how
oh yeah.
Oh God.
how they do
Oh
it.
yeah.
Oh, Brian,
I just
that'd be-
assumed he was gonna walk on and like do the same thing that Guy Fleekman does on Galaxy Quest, where he like walks in wearing a chain and like does a thumbs up and is our new
Finger
science officer.
guns.
should that be the cold open? Brian is introducing Smythe.
Oh,
Yeah, probably.
yeah, maybe.
Hmm.
Again, this is season 2, so we've got a huge amount of time to figure it out.
But whatever
Yeah,
happens,
but it's Sunday.
I want Maddox and Smythe to get into a fist fight in the cold open.
Deal. It's the Smythe isn't even gonna talk. He's just gonna walk on the bridge and punch him right in the face.
That's how he takes his measure of his new captain.
And Goodspeed's gonna look over from the other side of the bridge and go, "Not bad."
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done
All right.
that.
Yeah. Somebody told Smythe the only way to earn respect on a starship is to walk up to the highest ranking officer and punch him in the face.
Tell you what you need to do on your first day on that ship. You find the biggest guy in there.
Yeah, find the guy with the most bars on his wrist.
So Smythe would either go very far or nowhere at all on a Klingon ship.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you guys didn't know this, but he's actually from the Mirror Universe.
Oh,
That's what they
no.
do.
Do
Fun.
it.
Discovery did that already.
Yeah,
God
that's
damn it.
true.
That is true.
Simpsons did it. Yeah. Well, what else do we got in terms of thoughts or feelings as humans sometimes have?
Things.
Before we
As
wrap it up?
humans supposedly have.
So I do want to say that you said tonight was supposed to be about like learning, like getting your feet wet in an RPG, and you know how we all felt as we got started and stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to say to anybody who is like, I want to play, but I don't know if I'd be good at it, or you know, it's too much to take on or whatever. Like if you have a group of friends that are willing and you have at least one person who knows what's going on, like jump in, because it's fun and it's worth the time to do something together. And the like times right now are so crazy anyway. If you can find this happy little moment with friends where you're creating a world, it's 100% worth it to give it a shot. So get out of your own way and just
And if
do
I
the
may
thing.
speak for Tara, just because you were exactly that person when we
Yeah.
first started. You did not. Brian and I had to convince her, kicking and dragging sometimes, to come join us. To
I
come
had
play
a
with us.
newborn. I was like,
I
I
know you
can't do this right now.
I was there.
I know. I should
You were
hope so.
there.
And it took so long for us to get season 1 done that now that newborn is in college.
Right.
No, I'm
yeah.
Oh,
He is
also
18 months. Though.
I will add to Tara's sort of nudging to people who might be interested in it but hesitant to go ahead and do it. Also, don't listen to naysayers if you're trying it and you're new to it and someone sort of comes down on you and is like, well, don't do it this way or don't do it that way or whatever. Like, no, do your thing. Like, you're there to have fun and
Yeah.
enjoy
Mhm.
your time. You might not mesh with every player that you play with, but find people that you like, find people that you're good with, and like it can be a blast. And that's
Yeah.
just a way to do
Yeah.
it. So
I would definitely echo that in saying like have as few preconceptions about it as possible, right? Because every person is going to bring something different, and every group is going to be a collection of different dynamics and elements. That's the don't get in your head. Don't worry about, you know, am I playing the game correctly, or am I coming up with dialogue good enough or whatever. As long as you're having fun, that's it. Like, don't worry about anything else. As long as you're having fun with the people around you are having fun and you're having a good time together, and you as a group feel like it's a worthwhile way to spend your time, That is ultimately all that matters, and everything else
Absolutely.
is secondary to that.
And if they want an
Absolutely.
example of people who don't know what they're doing but still having fun with it, direct them to Starship Tempest.
Starship Tempest season 1. Hey.
Point them our
Matt,
way.
how
Yep.
long ago did you play in high school? Did you play RPGs?
No, the first role playing game I played was, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little more than that. I picked up D&D with a couple friends up here. We had a little bit of fun with it, and then I met a guy at a board gaming meetup and asked me if I wanted to be part of a Star Wars game.
Oh,
And
cool.
I said yes. Let's play Star Wars role playing game. That was very fun. And since then, I've been with his group for a few years now, and we've gone from Star Wars to Cyberpunk, back to Star Wars, to 2 different flavors of D&D, and now we're in some weird game that I've never played before. That's very strange. Some kind of mutant thing.
Every time if you're bouncing back and forth between the different genres, when you went from Star Wars to something else and then back to Star Wars, did you bring back your old characters, or did you invent new characters every campaign, or how does it work?
We do new characters every campaign. We don't do we'll play the same thing for about 6 to 8 months, and then we don't get bored of it, but we get finished with his short story he wants to tell. So we shelve it, and then we go into a different game system. So one of the Star Wars is I played a thawed out clone that was in Carbonite, and it was after Return of the Jedi. So he was still a young clone, but
you can show up on Mando.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool.
Ooh.
But yeah, that was fun. And I've played a guy in Cyberpunk that got cyber psychosis and killed everyone, and it was fun.
Like you do.
All kinds of fun
Like
stuff.
you
I played that
do.
ridiculous bard, and
That bard sounds amazing.
So it's been fun. But it's one of those things where when you first get into thinking you want to try to play something like this, I think there's things you can watch online. You can watch Critical Role, which is spectacular.
Yeah.
You can listen to guys on the Adventure Zone, which is also fantastic.
Yeah.
Which was
you
the
could
impetus
listen
for
to
this whole
Starship.
thing. That was
Which is great. I love the Adventure Zone. I thought it was fantastic. But I think what happens is a lot of people think that when they play, it's going to be just like that.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
It never is.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys on Critical Role, they're all, or the people on Critical Role, they're all trained voice actors, I believe. They're all professionals.
Sure.
Professionals.
So, you're not going to have, your DM isn't going to be Matt Mercer making up a voice for every single NPC. And it's not going to be some fantastic thing. It's going to be Brian.
Yeah, we're gonna hold.
And I think that's a wrap on the episode, everybody.
That was surgical, Matthew.
I know.
Surgical.
Kalima Shakti.
All right. Why don't we wrap it? Because that's a great button.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to hang out with any of you anymore.
No.
I'll see you Sunday.
Matt,
Yes,
I take back everything I've said about you.
I'm gonna fuck all of your shits up so hard.
Oh, am I out of the game? I'm out of the game.
Out of the game.
So you guys are gonna run into this oil slick. It's gonna be a dick for some reason. Don't really explain why.
An oil slick with a tood.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us once again. You can, as always, you can find us on social media under the handle of Starship Tempest. You can also send us an email at starshiptempest@gmail.com. We also got a website, starshiptempest.com. You can find the podcast itself on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and pretty much all the rest of them. So yeah, if you want to talk to us about your experience, or maybe some of your what might be holding you back if you don't have a lot of experience or anything like that, we would love to hear it. So hit us up on social media or send us an email, and we'd love to hear about it. So thanks very much, guys. Until next time, we'll see you out there.
We'll see you out there.
Bye.
Bye.